Welcome to the Vinyl Collective podcast, where you get to listen to a white guy and a bald nigga talk about how they invented music. Stay tuned.
Right, we are back and we're joined by a special guest. We have Ebenezer here. That review guy. So I've always found that name funny, I'm not gonna lie, because if I was talking to someone at the bar and I was like, oh, have you heard of that review guy? They're like, who the fuck are you talking about? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Do you know what it is?
Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what it is? That's what it. I can't remember when I started it because the whole story behind that is crazy because I literally came onto obviously without going too in depth, like when I was like 20 to 22, I just fell into depression. And when I was using, I'm not really actually, when I say this, people always think you're lying. I'm like, no, I'm not actually, I do not like social media. I don't. When I did this stuff, I didn't know what music Twitter was. I didn't know who these people were. I didn't really have followers or anything. It was just an account. The account I used actually was, you know, like sometimes you get games and they tell you to like sign in with your Facebook and you get a dummy account. This Twitter account was a dummy account. And then when I started finding myself like back into society and like gaining my confidence and stuff again, I was like, you know what? I really like music. I'm just gonna write to myself. There was no ads, there was no handles. Like you could find it like dated all the way back. I wrote some of my first ones just to myself, and I'd sit there on Spotify, listen and write out and everything. And then I don't know, I think I went to write something for Nines, and that's when I just was like, I wanted to just see who produced stuff because I really like listening to production so much. And I couldn't find anything. I'm like, these are professionals and they have teams and time and all they've got to do is write names. I couldn't find it. And then I was like, I swear anything I write on this app from now on, I'm not going to write unless I can credit someone. Because it's like, maybe if I write, like if I find who these people are that produce stuff or who video things and I put it down, other people can just type it on them, because you can type it on search engines or you can go on Twitter and you'll be able to find it, and it takes seconds. It's hard from here because if they don't do it, where do I get the do you know what I mean? But that stuff happened, and yeah, as I was writing, started to write on things, one of my mates was like, why don't you call yourself that review guy? And because at the time, like I said, I didn't know about music Twitter. I didn't know if anyone was doing something like that. And so my friend was like, yeah, do that. Because if you're going to be constantly like adding people and crediting people, and let's say your work does kind of surface everywhere, everyone's just going to, even if they don't know you, they're going to know you as that guy that does reviews. So they'll just put that review guy. And even if they don't know your name, they will always just say that review guy and they'll know who you are. So that's how that came about anyway. So,
clever. It's clever. I like it.
I know. I thanked him for it ever since, because when he said it, I was like, that makes so much sense. And I'm not really like, when I did all this stuff and fell into it, because I didn't expect it and people to like kind of pay attention to it and everything. It was never like I'm gonna do this and then blow up and all that. Like, it's never been in my mind. It's literally been, even when I was writing, I really do love music. So it's just, even just sitting there and writing to myself, whether I'm atting someone or I'm not atting someone, it's just nice. Like I didn't actually, even to this day, I don't expect people to read it. It's just, I want to say what I want to say. And if I'm talking very good about someone and they can see that and they can just see that someone's really acknowledged what they've done, then that makes me feel happy anyway. But the main thing was just to write. And yeah, if people see it, people see it. And obviously I did not expect certain things to happen from all of that at all. Because it's, again, I wasn't on that side of Twitter. I just had IRLs that had me. I don't know how all that stuff kind of domino effect and whatever, but yeah, it's nice, man. It's still a nice thing. I'll always do it. I feel like the novelty to me feels like it's wearing off. I don't feel like it could die because I actually enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like do this to get quick this. So I really do like it, but hopefully one day I'll do stuff like, I'll translate it to like stuff like this or shows, or do you know what I mean? And that way people can see who I am and enjoy it and see that, yeah, this guy really does like it. It's not just he's shouting and writing and counts. No, he really does like it. So yeah, man.
See, did you hear that part, John, about writing stuff and not expecting any sort of reward?
Is that resonating?
Yeah, that should be resonating with you, John. Isn't it? We'll leave that. We don't have to go into that one. We'll just leave that.
No, do you know, honestly, do you want me to be so honest? Like I said, I literally, because no one, even before I went into depression and everything, it's like, even now, like, I don't know you guys, this could have been meet me at this location, this, that. It would have been the same, not just because I would have had the same energy. It's like, I've always been lucky enough to be outgoing and just be whatever. So even when I had the depression, it was surprising. So when I had that, I used this to just deal with it. And it was that whole, I just wrote because it was what helped me and I just enjoyed it. I feel like my life before that and then looking at that stuff and how it kind of, I don't know, took off or however you want to call it. It's like, it just proves to me that things always happen when you just do it because you like it. It sounds so cliche, so cliche, but there's people like that know me by like name, or I don't know, I've gone to pop-up sometimes and people are saying I remember I'd go to a place and I want to call the person's name and then they're calling me and I'm like, I haven't done anything but just write what, on an app, like what I love. And yeah, I that advice I'd give to everyone. If you have anything you like, I don't know, like I said, I didn't think about blowing, if you want to call it blowing up or getting noticed or stuff, but the love for it enough was just for me to just write, and it pushed me to just change it, because it's hard to go through those threads and kind of see how it develops, but let's do you know what I mean?
Get into that actually, because so some of the work that you've done, right? So you have so you kind of started off with Confessions of a Listening Freak, and then obviously that kind of blew off. You had your first interview was with Ben Huncho, and then that was we'll get into that, and then obviously now you take submissions for like music reviews as well. And you was also on Chord with the whole Huncho fans think the same. And I think you have one more thing. So the Mixtape Madness thing. So
produced by
Jeremy. So it seems like you do have you have a lot of groundwork. Because I think one thing that kind of surprised me, I think John probably share the same sentiment, when it came to like your Twitter threads for singles, not even just the albums, singles. I was like, this guy's going really in depth. Like, I mean, I don't think a lot of people would actually do that. That was quite surprising. So what, I guess, just before we kind of get into it, what made you feel like you had to kind of break down a song to its like minutiae?
Do you know what? Even it's crazy you say that it's in depth, because even me, I don't think I always, because I love to when people do things and I think they're really good, or I really like their work or whatever they do, I like to let them know. And sometimes I'll even tweet about it, about like journalists, because I'm quite literate and stuff, but I can't even like when I write my work, like just to show you how transparent I am, I can always write like well enough. But obviously when you write like for Mixtape, for example, you write, and shout out to Ellie. Ellie's an editor, so obviously before anything goes up, she'll make sure stuff like sounds okay and whatever. I've always looked at other people, journalists and people that can just really write well and be like, yeah, these guys, like, because I couldn't do it. I know I couldn't write like them and whatever. So when you look at that and say like, I feel like I'll be so honest, I feel like I was way more in depth and analytical and critical about like everything, specifically right when I started, when there was no ats and anything. I feel like everything with the ats and stuff now, I guess I go a bit in depth, if you want to call it that, but I think because I know I can't write as well as like journalists in terms of like language, I'll break it down as if I'm talking to you guys. Like, a lot of people say when I write or tweet or whatever, it's like they can hear me talking to them, even if they don't. It's like a conversation, just in the language used and whatever. And funny enough, people say, oh, is it intentional? Because obviously no one, because I remember when I first was starting to get to know CJ, shout out to CJ, he was like, he thought it was intentional. And I said, no, this is really just how I would talk about it if I was like having a conversation. And what made me just break it like bit by bit is just, I don't know, I kind of just wanted, not that I want people to know that I hear things and really can hear things, but I think I get really excited whether the song's not good or the song is good, or I want people to know like why this is what I feel. And it's like, if I don't go slightly in depth about it, it's just, or maybe it's glossed over, because even now a lot of it's not even that, it's just, I feel like they've got shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, because it's like, I don't know why sometimes I'm doing that, because I've just said it, I don't expect anyone to read it, but then I also like don't want people to, I guess if they do read it, it goes on for as long. But again, it's like, I can't think like that. I should do what I want to do, because if you're going to read it, you're going to read it. Do you know what I mean? But what made me just break stuff down is just, I like just putting there that, I want to make sure it's like you eat food. If you like what you're going to eat, you're going to finish the plate. You're not going to eat half of it. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and a large part of what you kind of talk about is mainly like drill music, UK music. You kind of keep that focus. And obviously, as the title of Zesto suggests, we're going to be talking a lot about drill, the current state of it. So you know what, we can start anywhere. Actually, I'm going to throw it to you, John, because I feel like this is obviously a topic. Like, don't get me wrong, we are music heads in a sense, but I feel like drill is one of the kind of pockets we don't, touch on too much.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of coming from more of a, I guess, from a student's perspective and like trying to learn more. Obviously, it's not like we don't know any fucking drill, let's be serious, but like, do you know what I mean? Kind of learn I guess more the ins and outs.
I don't even blame you lot. Like, I remember when I started the series, I said I was going to cover all types of music, and I feel like I haven't got around to it. And I feel like,
I mean, it's impossible, right?
Yeah, but do you know what's sad? I feel like it's happened naturally because of the audience that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
In my spare time, I listen to. I don't even. You know what's the craziest thing? I do not listen to drill as much in my spare time at all, or a lot of UK music. When I do listen to a lot of UK music, it's indie alternative rock, a bit of house, R&B, mostly overseas. If I can catch the UK, I would. When it comes to UK, similar sounds like that, it's just alternative.
It reminds you of that Lowski interview with ZZ Miller. It's like, it's all a lie. It's not real.
Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's so hilarious? If you get like future people on here, that you see on the TL that do certain things or whatever, I swear to you, if you ask them, even if it's not about drill and you ask them that, they'll tell you they do not listen to drill in their spare time, even though they are covering it. And a lot of tweets, it feels like it just happens by default. And don't worry, you're not alone. Even if I'm to listen to drill in my spare time, it's a real small percentage, honestly.
Fair.
And that will confuse a lot of people, but I swear to you, a lot of people are the same.
All right, cool. I mean, okay, cool. So, John, what you want to kind of start?
Yeah, I'll go for it. Yeah, for sure. Like, it's probably one of the genres I listen to the least. I'd say maybe once every 2 weeks, I might have an evening where I'd listen to some music. Whenever we talk like, oh, you enjoying drill, I always think of that tweet where the guy was like, he falls asleep to drill music. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
He's lying. He has to be lying.
Or he's going through something. Yeah, I mean, because I'm not a kind of like drill savant, I don't really want to go in too hard, but like, I just don't find the production and the beats necessarily that innovative, or like, I'm not enjoying the production side of it that much.
And this is what it is. I'm not even here to disagree. I agree as well. I just feel like people will not be big up everyone, but I just feel like there's not enough honesty. When drill is really good in today's now, it can be really good. But when I find it's good, it's when you get things like I don't know. Quite recently, you had TSB do the Jagged Edge with Millions and Unknown T. You see people are now taking drill into these a lot of subgenres are coming off, which we'll probably get into. I guess we'll talk about that when it comes to like longevity. But I feel like drill as a genre, even right now, funnily enough, when it's good, it's the production that's saving the artist, because a lot of the artists are man. It is the production. But when you say so? I agree. I agree with Jordan, because I know what he's talking about, because there's I don't know how to call it, but I always go the more purer or rawer form of drill, where it's like not as subgenre, it's just drill, like, if that makes sense. It's not, the beats are a lot different to all these subgenre beats. Like I don't know, nowadays you've got a lot of guitar influenced beats, Latin influenced beats, and things like that. But I don't know, like a couple years ago, you would never hear that would be these beats that Jordan probably doesn't like. And at a time, a lot of people did like those, and was always, you'll see some tweets going, why can't we go back to this era and that? But it's like, now if I hear that sort of drill, I just can't hack it anymore. I find it boring. I find it's not, it doesn't stick. It's borderline annoying. And I feel like drill's only nice now when you do have these heavy changes in instrumentals. I don't know, where it's like, you can get hard hitting beats, but there's a lot of how do I say it? Like the frequencies basically feel more positive when there's a lot of like guitar, like all these instruments that were not used as much before in this sort of genre. I feel like I feel like those beats from before, all these like, you know, the ones like 6, 7 and just a lot of more of the godfathers or granddads of drill would use. Nowadays, I personally can't really do it. So I really agree in that sense.
I mean, let's get into that. So also you kind of spoke about longevity. So I think that's something that's kind of still up in the air. I feel like a lot of people are quite unsure with the longevity of drill. And I think you also mentioned something I just want to kind of touch on a little bit. I feel like it's the opposite way around when it comes to production artists. I do feel like a lot of these artists can rap. I do think they have legit rapping chops.
Of course.
But I feel like it's the beats. Like, I feel like, I'm not going to lie, obviously you don't need to name no names, but I feel like some of these producers are getting a day's work, like, for free, basically. Like, I feel like some of them, I feel like some of these guys, right? I'm not gonna lie, it probably takes them like 10 minutes to make a beat and they're earning racks. It's like, you just made that same beat over there. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is the same thing. You're literally just maybe adding some reverb. Like, that's literally
do you know what's crazy? You see, it's so crazy when you say that, because I agree again. That's why I love debates. This is why I hate when I see it on social media, like people act like there's a right and a wrong. I feel like there's always you can justify everything. Like what you just said there, I agree as well, because if you I've seen so many tweets from producers that, I don't know, you get producers that haven't really got as much placements. They're looking for their placements and they make really good beats that are not as, they're trying to break through, because their beats are not, you'll find a lot of the good ones, their beats are not like what are out there now. But what's happening is you'll get a lot of these artists just pick, I don't know, this whole industry producer thing where you have drill producers coming from the industry and not like from the people that actually listen to the music. That's one reason for why I think a lot of production is just not, it sounds so hit and miss, and you'll be surprised how many songs you hear from people that are more, if you're not like going into the crevices of the genre and looking for upcomers, you're listening to more of your newer ones. You'd be surprised how many of those beats you'll find coming from like industry producers that don't really listen to the music. You know, same way you've got A&Rs that don't A&R, they just look for what's sick or live, and then once it's that, it's move on. There's no talent development. There's not. It's the same thing, and I feel like these artists, like you said, like Tops, they can rap, but I do believe a lot of artists' beat selection is crap. I'll be real, it's bad. It's bad, and only reason I say I like certain beats, and again, I reckon this is only because there's a sound that's gonna take over, I reckon, in a year or two, and it is gonna be those melodic influences. You know, these things that your V9s, like the V9s pick, or your TSVs make, and just these things that look like they're going into subgenres. That's the future, and I feel like because we haven't got there yet, we're not hearing that on a greater scale, which is why the production still sounds so like, and you know what I mean? This is why I can fully agree. But then when there is good production, when it does get out there and you look at the genre as a whole, it's so hard, because I lean towards production is more doing well, but it is also at the same time doing bad. But I feel like if there was more of a I don't know, attention to detail with artists and their beats, then we would hear a lot more of the good things. But I feel like production is carrying a lot of artists. I just feel like content-wise, specifically in the genre, there's no real creativity. There's no They don't have to be. There's a market for everything. But
okay, John, what are your thoughts?
I agree. Like, I think that's one thing when you get a genre like so, and this is why you're like, oh, you know, no one will talk about anything else because it's drill. We have to talk about drill, even if we don't listen to it, like when the camera turns off. Like, the thing with like drill is like any other genre, right? Like, there's only gonna be longevity. It's only gonna stick around if it's allowed to like naturally evolve. And like one sticky point last year, I don't know where you fall on like Gang, the mixtape by Headie One, but like that felt like this was just a drill artist who was finding some kind of way to involve a producer from a different genre and just like mix it up a bit and try and try and like push the genre forward a couple years, and people weren't ready. People didn't like it.
Yeah, it's ahead of its
and
time.
Like, this isn't the sound. So you better go back and release Rose Gold or whatever it was.
No, 100.
Yeah.
See that is so valid. I feel like, but you're always gonna get that. Like, I said this when asked. I've literally said it, and they've laughed. But it's hard because it's, how do I explain it? This is how trends happen, right? No one usually in the moment will see that. It won't really make as much sense right now to people, but later, obviously, it will when it catches on and stuff. But I feel like, yeah, with Headie One, I feel like though that project got a lot of stick, obviously you like what you like, whatever. I feel like that's literally what is happening now. Like, it still hasn't fully changed, but the beats are going away from, are just going away from what they used to be years ago. Because what it was years ago is just not. It's getting really boring, and this is why you've got Central C is a perfect example. All his production, that's the future. Those beats are the future of the genre, basically. Like, if it's not going to be those sort of beats, the artists themselves probably won't. They might be liked by a lot of people, but for them as an artist, I don't see where their progression point is. Because what's happening now is, I mean, I always say names. This is why certain people like me, because I'm not gonna hide anything. But here's my thing.
All right, here we go.
I'm all right. I'm all right with like a lot of the guys at Groundworks. Like, shout out to Groundworks. They're so nice to me. They've always been like really nice and things like that. But it's like this millions debate, right? I've said this. I'm so firm on it, and I love the guy. I think he still sounds great. I think because he has his own sound and he doesn't sound like anyone in the genre.
He doesn't sound like a Midlands Headie One.
Do you know what it is? Yeah, this is what I was. No, this is the thing is, this is how people. This is my theory for blowing up or blowing up, however you want to call it. Because I, just as a watcher, it's like people don't pick up on it. But I'm like, it's the same every time. Every time something does well, it's because in the moment, no one is like or sounds like, if we're talking just music, no one sounds like the person. If we're talking entertainment, when someone suddenly comes out of nowhere, they're probably doing something that it might not even be new. It's just at the time they're doing something that isn't been done. Like, I don't know, like I've said to people, it's like fashion. You can have, I don't know, podcasts or something, for example, and you can have something from an art podcast, like a concept. Then you realize that concept isn't being done in music. You take that concept and now the person that's done that suddenly, this is what I believe has happened with millions, because even I said it, there was a comparison to Dizzy Rascal with the accent thing and why it's kind of helping him in that. But I think you see average listeners, that's what commands the market. It's not like the you and the me's and it's not us. We don't run this market, the guys that really listen. It's always the majority of the market that helps the success is always like I call it the average listener. Like it's not too in depth. As long as it sounds half good or it's different, then everything, that's it. Everything's fantastic sort of thing. But that's what's happened with millions. And I feel like now with someone like that, he's on really great beats, but it's like, where does a guy like this go next? It doesn't even matter what I say or what happens in the future, because he has the fans, he has the market. But already as
everything by an album.
As an avid listener, I'm here thinking for me, he's gonna have to do a lot, man, to make me pick up a project now. It might be good, but it's like he's got to surprise. He doesn't have to surprise me, but I don't know. You
feel like all the tricks out the bag.
Yeah, this is the thing, and I don't even want to say he's bad. He's not bad. He's all right. He's all right. Like, he's good, but it gets to, this is what I'm saying, and there's a lot of that in drill. There is so much of that in drill. It's like, where does another person go?
Okay, actually, let's pivot to that, right? And John, I want your thoughts on this as well, because this is one thing I've never really understood. Like, it happens across all genres, right? But I feel like drill, it happens like a motherfucker. So like, I feel like literally, no joke, maybe every 6 to 8 weeks or so, there's this new guy that's popped up at drill, and everyone's saying this artist or this guy is like the truth, and they're the next ones up, and they're the ones that
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, one day, everyone's loving 98. Next day, it's OFB. Next day, Central C's got like 1 million followers. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, it is like other genres. It does take a long time to get such a turnover. Like, you're not gonna just have Kendrick one day with Drake, and you're just gonna have, boom, like next year someone else. Like, it takes to get to that point where for like drill, you can literally just become like quote unquote the best drill artist in no more than like
overnight.
2 months.
Yeah.
So
That is
yeah,
very,
John, what are your
There's
thoughts?
I think there's a quality control issue massively.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. Like, this is why we do the spotlight thing, because certain genres, especially R&B,
Oh yeah, that's
there are so many like packaged artists who have albums, who have a couple of EPs already, bodies of work which you can get onto, and they're just, I mean, they're not really seeing the light of day. But with drill, like one feature quickly overnight and you're like blown up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you want me to? Do you know what the problem with? Do you know what the issue is? I'll tell you what the issue is. This is what I'm saying. This is why. What did I say about Millions? Like, as much as I like him and stuff, it's not like me, you, Tops, and Jordan that control. It's not people. When I say people, because sometimes it's hard for me to word it. There are avid listeners, real like listeners, and then there's just whatever sounds half good. That's it. And when people chart, a majority of people that make people chart, it's those average listeners. And I think what happens with that quality control thing is, I said it earlier, it's us as fans, A&Rs, because it's hot, and that's what's hot at the minute. Like, if the sound is hot at the minute, that's what's making, I think, just random artists blow up, because people are really trying to, I don't know, labels are trying to push someone, and an A&R is trying to suddenly push someone. And when it comes to R&B in the UK, for example, it's like, because it's not, it might be hot to us. Like, we have a lot of people, you have your Deals, your Gabs. There are artists that look like they are like, you give them to the US now, and it's they, do you know what I mean? Just like the LMAs. And I remember when I was in uni and I heard LMA, I said, she's 100% gonna. And as soon as she left here, because R&B is well received overseas, you know what I mean? That's what it is. I think the issue is because it's not being cared for. There's no real attention from the people that can make things happen on that genre. That's why it takes so long. And I think this is why drill has that lack of quality control and everything, because it's like, as soon as social media, like you said, goes, this guy is this and that, all the A&Rs will start paying attention. Then whoever can grab him or her will grab the person, and then everyone around that team will push this person, and then everyone else will start noticing, and then this is it. And you just don't have that care or attention to any other genre, because I think for these guys that are in the industry and whatever, because the R&B, for example, is not as in the spotlight as drill, that's why it's so like, you're just getting whatever at the top, or do you know what I mean? Just elevating quickly, and I don't like it. Yeah,
no, I 100% agree, because again, I think a large part of what me and John do, like, we are quite huge fans of like history being documented. So if someone wanted to tell you who's the best drill artist 2020 or 2019, how the fuck are you gonna do that when you lot said like 3, 4, maybe even 6 artists were the best of that year? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so hard to do that. And I feel like I kind of agree with what you guys say in terms of turnover and all of that, but I feel like because drill relatively is still a small scene. I know some people get excited when fucking Pop Smoke calls Fredo. Fuck it, that doesn't mean shit. We're not there yet. But I'm telling you, it sounds like it's mainly a UK thing, and I've always quite kind of believed, right? And again, what you said, like, people blow up elsewhere, we'll definitely have an episode on that. But like, in terms of when it comes to UK and in music, it's always going to be clout based, but more so than other places, because this place is small. So the only way you can blow up is through clout, right? And I feel like when it comes to drill, the problem people are going to run into is that the people who are legitimately talented, and because they get shafted so quickly, they never have their time. Like, for example, a good artist should have their time as the best artist, do you know what I mean? And that's quite good for them to have. But the fact that you don't get that, like, literally, I mean, who's the flavor of the month I can think of now? Like, you know, OFB, right? Everyone's loving off them, right? But even then, this Central C comes around the corner. This guy comes around the corner, and then boom. The moment you're not number one, it feels like when you're not number one, number two is like a huge drop off. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like to me like a close one. And I think that's the problem that I think a lot of people run into.
It's attention span, I think, as well, right?
As well.
There's such a lack of like, I don't even know what the word is, but like we haven't got the capacity to enjoy a certain number of artists at the same time. It's like one or nothing. It's like one song or I'm not listening. It's mad. Go on.
No, I was gonna say, like, this is why, like, I'm always honest. Like, again, and this is, you know what, this hurts me because I had it just literally happen last Thursday where Miss Banks and K-Trap dropped something on Twitter. When you finish the review and there's videos that need to upload, it will take time for them to all upload. I think 2 posts happened and I said something. I was like, oh, everyone on this song, both of them had really good verses, but the hook just didn't stick. It wasn't good. The hook was not. And immediately it's like, oh, at least it's honest, lol, thanks. And I know I've struck a nerve, obviously, but I'm like,
wait, who said that? Who said it, by the way?
Miss Banks. It hasn't finished. I was like, the review hasn't even finished, but what was even said was actually telling you it was good, but the hook just wasn't, it wasn't memorable. And you know what it is? The music game for me in this genre as well, especially this drill genre, it's all about, I don't know, I hate sounding like I know it all, but it's like fashion. Like, everything comes back in full circle all the time. We've seen it all before. Like, anything that blows up or trends, it's always you don't see nobody like sing that, like, or rap verses. It's normally all these hooks and stuff that just continuously does well. And it's like, I feel like if you want to do well or have that blow up song, really have a good hook, something that sticks to any listener. I said it as soon as, if I'm in a studio or whatever and a song has played through once and I'm humming a majority of the tune, I've remembered a lot of those words, that tune is more than likely going to do well. Like, that tune is more than likely going to do well. And I don't know, it's like, I really hate the fact that people in the UK, artist-wise, people like us, we can have our opinion and everyone just gets so hurt by it. And I'm thinking, I don't understand it. And I feel like it's, once you put your art out there, anyone can say what they like.
Agreed. We're
not even hating you, like, or nothing. And this is just, I'm gonna now that I've said that, I'm gonna run it back. Like, OFB are not good. They're not.
That's the tagline. That is the tagline right there. There you go.
Look, I'm not gonna. Why should I lie for? Because I'm not here to be a yes man. No way. And I'm not here to be disrespectful either. Because if we're talking actual, like, standout things, there's not really much that OFB does different. What OFB does really well, and this is what I'm gonna say. This is where music people get hurt, and they could listen to that now and they'll cut it off and they won't even comment.
What saying is real. Well, I'll continue.
Yeah, what they do well is, and I love it because I've said, as an artist, I think in the UK what we're lacking is, now there's this entertainment thing. I feel like, obviously don't do it if you don't want to, but I feel like we need to see a lot more personalities now and stuff, because all the music is the same. Now, I think if you're going to keep doing the same music, you're not going to show us any, I don't know, versatility or different things. I feel like jumping into this entertainment thing as an artist it's like the way KSI, he didn't do music. He does all this YouTube stuff, but now he does music. I just feel like a lot of his support isn't even for his music. It's just, he will chart because of this entertainment thing. And I feel like that will help people. OFB do okay at that. They've had songs that have gone off because they've got a young target audience that just really likes what they do. But as for actual good things, I love them, like, as people and whatever, but it's only Headie that is good in OFB, if you want me to be very honest. RV's, even though people don't really like RV as much and they say he's fallen off and there's no progression or going forward for him, I'll be real, it's hard. Like he follows me and everything. I talk to him or whatever, but you know, I'm never gonna lie. Like, it's hard to know where someone like that can go going forward, how they're gonna progress and things, because it's like all the songs are the same. I feel like for someone like that, if he has more songs like the Moonwalk Slide that he did with Chip, those little things that just kind of really catch on, then but OFB, if we're talking talent as a collective, there's so many people better than them.
Like who?
There's so many 98, Zone 2, all these people that I feel like 98s will get there. They're not a problem, but like Zone 2, for example, I know OFB have done some commercial music as well. I think I've seen Bando, and I think they did something with Ill Blue and stuff. So it was more like they've done like a couple commercial things. But if we're talking just drill, people like Zone 2, there's a lot of different people that are just, I think, collectives that are better. And obviously one has taken off, one hasn't. Maybe Zone 2 will get their moment. But like Quengface, for example, Quengface has done, I'm not gonna lie, he has those two personas, like Quengface, Nasty, whatever. him alone, I think, is better than so much of OFB, because yes, he does drill, but he sounds different. He can jump into different production. It's like I can get a lot of different songs from Quengface. So I feel like all of OFB stuff is the same. Talent-wise, I don't think the numbers and the stuff they get reflects the talent. But I think in music, that's normal for so many people across all genres and sounds. So
and that kind of leads to my next topic as well, because I feel like even though, again, we're saying a lot about drill and how, you probably don't listen to drill in your spare time and all that good stuff. But one thing about drill is that it's probably one of the most popular genres in the UK, like, no doubt. Like, the fact that someone like Central C's getting like 1 million followers and he's a drill artist, like, he's not an R&B artist, not a rapper. It's like, it just kind of shows like it kind of shows where the genre is at right now. And I feel like the reason why, and I think one thing I've kind of struggled with this as well, is kind of defining who a drill artist is and who isn't. But I think what I've kind of figured out, and I want to kind of get both you guys' opinions on this, is that it feels like drill is more of a cash cow than anything else. So you kind of get these artists, right? So who aren't drill artists, but they'll jump on a drill song and they'll do like a drill type of thing, because they know, okay, drill's popping, but I'm not going to do drill 24/7. Like, you might get Fredo jump on the track, you might get AJ Tracy jump on the track and kind of use that drill throwing. They'll hop in and hop out. Do you feel like that's kind of what UK artists are doing right now? Do you think it's kind of like exploiting it? Like, John, kick us off.
I don't know. I'm kind of loath to say like they're exploiting it, because like that's kind of sometimes what like it. I mean, it just happens, doesn't it? Like you get like mainstream rappers jumping on like neo soul or like R&B projects. Like it's just the same. Like drill is just another genre, so I don't think it needs that like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the way like people kind of like treat drill as if it's like this like little thing that just needs coddling and like we can't like taint it, or like we can't, it's like a little baby, we need to carry it around the whole time and no one else is allowed to hold it. It's like it is like a genre in itself. You just need to let it go, let people do what they're going to do with it, let people feature on it, let people kind of like find their way with different producers, different subgenres, like let it just evolve. And I think it'll be fine. But I don't know, that's my thought.
Absolutely.
Is it I feel like if we talk about it in terms of the only reason I would say it could be that, but I think that's just normal, isn't it? It's just it just comes back to that whole it's the same way people, like you said, like when things are clout based, people just jump on whatever's popping or whatever. I'm a big fan of anything melodic. I like rap, sing, like singy stuff, whatever. So when I do see it in drill, for example, or when I started seeing it in drill, I was like, oh, this is sick, because I like this stuff. But it's like in 2016 when there was like this whole trap wave thing, when you had you had M Huncho coming up, you had your DBEs, where people keep saying they were a lot more better to listen to than they are now, if we're talking about like the auto-tune stuff and all that. I feel like at that time, a lot of people, even Central C is a very good example. Back then, when trap wave was a thing, he was making that music. And I think in an interview has said it himself. And I said this on another like podcast. I think he said it himself. He has just been going with what is actually doing well at the minute. He said it with his own mouth. And I feel like he's always been in and out of different sounds, because even when he did the Next Up, he was doing like this whole real rap. It's UK hip hop, guys. As much as we like the real rap, it's UK hip hop. I like to call it that as well in my spare time. But I think if we actually want to talk about it in not even to you guys, it's just if anyone hears this in certain convos and when you're writing, put real rap in quotations and just say it's UK hip hop. But it's this thing, like he said it himself. He literally was he's been, when he did his whole day in the life, because that was the song that I guess was the start of his streak that he's on now. He said it was like he's just been going with the sounds that are doing well, and I feel like it's just normal. It's like now no one really is into that whole trap wave melodic thing, whatever you want to call it, but they were in 2016 and people were doing it then. And Central C was, he's a great example because he was doing it, but a lot of people didn't know who Central C was, and then they talk about industry plant or whatever. But he was then trying. He was trying to make his way through that sound that was doing all right then. So I think it's just normal. I don't think it's a cash grab. I mean, I think it is if we're talking about the amount of people that just come out of nowhere and maybe don't even want to do music, but suddenly, because like you said, they've seen this door that a lot of people can just come out of nowhere and do something. If we're talking like in a sense of upcoming rappers, like even me, it's because I love the art, and people say it's crazy when I go, I used to say, like, I reckon a lot of us could really, with the right guidance, jump in the studio, the right people, make a song, not even be musicians.
No, I fully agree. And a lot of people have said that with drill as well. Like, drill is one of those genres that it's like, if you got the subject matter down and you just kind of keep a constant cadence, you'd be fine. You could probably have a drill song that people like. Yeah, like
I feel like more people could do it and would be shocked with themselves and actually could get away with it. You know what's a great example? Central C doesn't, I think, have the content where he's talking about, it's not as gory or violent.
Yeah, as like a Zone 2,
but it's over the production. So it makes you know that there are loads of ways to do it. RD is the same. RD literally is not talking about any of that stuff. It's just this whole cheeky chappy thing, and he's doing well. He's looking, he's doing well. So I feel like that's what it is. I think if you look at it like that, I feel like there's probably a lot of people with the mentality of, like, in terms of upcomers, I guess they might have that cash grab mentality. I don't think it's as there with established people that have already been doing it. I feel like it's just normal, like Jonathan said. Like, it's just one of those things. If something's popping, everyone's gonna try and mix what they do or mix something in there and try and do it.
It's interesting. You've kind of touched on it by like mentioning some artists that do have projects, but like another one of the talking points is obviously like why aren't drill artists, like, on the whole, interested in making bodies of work? I don't know what your take is.
Here we go. That. I'll bring it back to OFB. OFB dropped a project. No one cared. Do you see what I mean? The art. Look, I tweeted this about the artwork when I saw Gabsy's artwork, and I saw there's a Canadian. Oh, it's a shame I can't remember her name. There was a Canadian artist that I could probably find the tweet. She had artwork that really looked like Steven Universe things, like Steven Universe based artwork. And I was like, wow, this is sick. Like, I've already been drawn in because the artwork just reminds me of something I like. It's good. I used to say, like, artwork is more important than people know. Yeah, and when OFB did the whole Mount Rushmore, they did the Mount Rushmore thing. I was like, I get it. To me, it wasn't good. But then there was that era where it's like some people came and made a valid point. They were like, yeah, but it reminds them of that classic mixtape era where the art wasn't that good and it could be like that. But I mean, I've looked at that art now and I'm like, no, it's not that good. So what can I expect from the music? The music didn't reflect the artwork, but I don't think the music was good. The project just went and left. They did their little promo for a bit and it just came and went. But OFB don't lose the they don't lose the name, they don't lose the fan base and whatever, because do people care about talent? They don't. No one cares. They literally dropped that. A lot of people would drop a body of work like that, and I feel like would like hold a lot of criticism from it. When they dropped it, I didn't see it spoke about a lot. Not that people have to, but I'm thinking for people there, the way people hold them and kind of keep them high, it did not get talked about a lot, and it was bad. Yeah. It was bad, and I was like, wow, that does, like what you guys have been saying, it does really further prove that, I mean, it's not like we don't know, but it further proves that everything's just based on clout and just, I guess, I don't know, one, you get a young fan base, they like something, once they're there, they never leave, you're kind of all right for life sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get what you're saying. Like, I'm not even going to fully blame the fan base in this one. I feel like, if I'm being straight up, I just feel like a lot of these drill artists can't. Like, I've been thinking about it for a long time. I just don't think they can.
I agree.
Yeah, when I think about it, because again, like, it kind of reminds me of, who am I thinking of? That I Love McConan guy that John was showing on a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Because the question is, right, when you have an album, the next thing that comes after is the tour, because how else are you going to pay off all the studio sessions, right? After the first couple singles, you're going nowhere fast, mate, because all the other songs either are just the same versions or like shitter versions or the songs you like. And again, I feel like with drill, we're not at that point yet. No one, apart from Headie, literally no one is at the point.
It shows how he deserves, I think, all the praise he gets.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's hard what you've just
interest.
Said. Yeah, what you've just said. Projects can drop. I can like it, but I will not sit here and lie to you and say this is definitely gonna be forgotten in a year max. or if not
that.
a week. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And like I said, I'm never going to be that guy that lies for the sake of, I feel like it's just good to be honest. Like, we do not have projects like that from, if we have projects that last in rap, it will actually just be from artists that rap, like that aren't really doing the drill stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like your Potter Papers. I mean, Nines, if we're talking UK, a lot of times I wish I could see the alternate universe in where like your Potter Papers and your Nineses were like US artists, because I feel like in the US, I don't know what it is, but I feel like if they got to a certain point over there, I feel like they would really be loved over there. And obviously they're loved over here, but it's what Headie's done. People really need to sit down and look at it and be like, no, like he's still taken that drill genre, and for me, Headie's the best drill artist. And I just don't think, I don't know who is gonna come and contest it. I don't know who is gonna, because if I'm being honest, yes, your Central C's are good and stuff, but it's about the history. Like you guys said, you like to document history. For me personally, yes, he charted with it and stuff, like Edna and whatnot, but from Gang, he was taking, yes, other artists have taken that leap, but he's taken his status, and I think has realized he's like, you know what, I can afford to experiment at this point. And I love when people do that. I love when people do that. They know, I don't know if this is how he thought, but that's how I looked. This is how I would look at it if I was like him. I'd be like, I have this fan base, I have whatever. If I'm going to experiment, now is the time. Like, if people are going to forget the project and not like it, they'll do it, and I'll just come back with what people like, and then, I don't know, I'll blend that in with like slight experimentations. You know what I mean? He has songs on that Edna, like with features with Mahalia, your Cash Pages, and it's like he knew he was never gonna go anywhere, but it's just, you're not gonna get people doing that. And I feel like what he's accomplished with all that is very good, and it draws back to what Jonathan said with the projects of work, the body of work thing. I think it's horrendous right now. I don't think it's changing either. I feel like we're gonna get one Headie One in a blue moon, like
that's
every
the
once
thing, and that's where I worry about drill, right? Because how can a genre last if it's only one guy kind of leading the charge? Do you know what I mean? Because don't get me wrong, Headie One, rap, drill or not, this guy was always going to be a competent like artist, no doubt. But I feel like if he's the only one, and it really does feel like, because again, when it comes to like a drill artist that's popping, I'll give them a couple listens. Do you know what I mean? I'll listen to some of their songs. Yeah. But it feels like in terms of who is really just taken to like, oh my gosh, you're not just a gimmick, you're not just a moment. You could literally be one of the best across all genres. You really do have that potential. If it's just Headie One, where does the genre go from there? Because once Headie One goes, that's it, isn't it? It kind of lives and dies by him. Like,
you know what?
I think that's our problem with the genre. Do
you know what's so sad about that? It blows my mind, you know, when I think about it, because Headie's so marketable in terms of this entertainment thing because he's funny and like he's never gonna go in. He has so many lanes to go in. But my thing is, for industry that is like, and this world, like, if even forget the industry, this world is very like, if you look good, you'll go far, like physically, your face, this, that. The industry is exactly the same. Headie initially doesn't match any of those things, and there's artists that match those things, right? And I also feel have more potential to I guess if they want to be versatile in terms of how they rap in flow, cadence, if they want to do a couple melodic things and sing and still be on drill, I feel like there's artists that basically could provide more of a variance than Headie is right now. This is why I'm so taken back by what he's accomplished, because if you actually sit back, I know the songs are good and they're high quality and they sound different, but he hasn't really changed. And it's not, and you know what's crazy with that? This is gonna sound crazy, but I know you guys are smart guys. You're gonna get it. Him and Millions. What is the difference between him and Millions, really and truly? Because you just said it, like in flow. You literally said, and not many people has even said that. Like,
Millions, Millions.
What is the difference between their content in that sense? Because you know what, Millions could do what Headie's doing in terms of sound for a project. He could get some features, get some female artists. And he'll probably come out with the same thing, because it's not, if you listen to Edna, it's not like Headie did anything different on his end. It's the same guy. It's just really high quality end mixing, really high quality sound, good features. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, that's the person that's created history, but there are artists that can actually do more, and I don't know if they're going to get there, and that's what confuses me. Is it, again, does it draw back to the clout thing? Does it whatever? And that's why, I don't know, my thing for why the genre will last, and I've said this, is literally just the evolution thing, like Jonathan was saying earlier. What's going to happen is there are sounds now that haven't got to the forefront too much, but they're there. Production that, like I said, your V9s jump on, your Central C's, your production artists, like you're going to get like your Quincy's, your TSVs, the guys that everyone's looking at, just guys that know the sound, like they're going to try and push stuff like that to the forefront. And I think what's going to keep it alive is that, and the fact that I think this genre is really carried by singles because we don't have bodies of work. So you have to sit, this genre is carried by singles. So I feel like if the genre does that whole evolution thing, which it is and it will, I think we're just going to get singles carrying the genre, and it's going to be just singles that sound different all the time, kind of thing. Not different, but the same, because if they're going to be charting well and to keep the genre alive, to get to the charts, I've always said it's going to be something that's not too different, unless it's different and extremely catchy. Do you know what I mean? And then it makes its way up. That's how I think it stays alive. Singles, and just the fact that it's evolving and it's not going to be this whole pure heavy 808 nearly headache causing production on the songs. Basically, that's how I think it's going to live. But when we talk about the whole Headie One thing, it does really take me away when I sit back and go, but the problem I have with Millions, in theory, I could go and relay back and say I have that with Headie One, but look at where he is. Like, and no one said that. No one has said that, because it's just Headie One is Headie One. So let's not talk like that.
Yeah, fair.
But when you think about it, like, what's stopping Millions from doing the same thing? Because Headie's done it and he hasn't changed anything.
I mean, well, I actually have a question though, but I feel like, John, I feel like you want to say something.
No, I was just going to agree with that. Like, I think it's got to be a bit of maybe personality and like vision. It's not that, I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming it's not that Millions has the same like vision. He's got these ideas, but he's just being stopped from doing it. Like he's obviously got enough clout. He's got enough people listening to him. The fan base is large, but it's probably a vision thing of just, you know what, I'm just going to keep giving them same tracks. I'm going to keep doing the features. I'm going to keep doing this and that. And it's weird, like a bit off topic, but the only other genre that I can think of that has this issue with like just single after single after single is like reggaeton. I don't know how much you guys listen to that. Yeah, but like, that's the only other genre I can think of where there's just like some of the big artists that are putting out albums, like Bad Bunny, if you know who he is. But most of the other artists don't really have albums. I think Daddy Yankee, for example, went like, what was it, almost a decade without a studio album. I'm like, how is this happening?
It's crazy. It's actually crazy, man. It's crazy when you think. It's crazy,
and this is where I go to the next thing. This is probably one of my last kind of talking points. So again, for me, like me personally, and before we move on, I think a genre of just singles completely bullshit to me. Like how the fuck? Because when we look at any other genre, when we talk about classics, we're all talking albums. There's no such thing as a classic single. Oh my gosh, this guy had like 5 classic singles. What the fuck is that? It doesn't
display. Yeah, the singles don't really give. There's no indicator. It's like this. Like it's so good that we have like Millions as an example. Like there's no a project is like an indicator of where an artist is at and
exactly
and what they can do. And you know what I mean. We don't know that with a lot of people in this genre.
Exactly right. So exactly, because you can't look at Millions and be like, oh my gosh, that 3 singles he dropped, classic. It's like, what? You can't, it just doesn't make any sense. So going on to the next thing, right? So we talk about longevity, we kind of talk about most of those things surrounding drill. But like, in terms of the full potential, so let's say, okay, it keeps going as it does. What is the end point? So, for example, will we see like a drill artist ever headline Glastonbury the way Grind did with Stormzy? Will we ever kind of see that potential of drill? What do you think?
You know what? It's so hard to say, you know. I want to say yes, just because it's mind-blowing. This is mind-blowing to me. I do think, because this is I've seen it, right? I feel like artists that want to make sure they're secure in this genre, I've said it, if they don't feel too confident or, I don't know, strong about the longevity of their sound and their music, they could just happen to there are a lot of personalities you see on the TL, they jump in one video. I'm like, if they just tap into these little things like, I don't know, like the content Foot Asylum does, or just fun things, they are going to get another market. They are going to stay alive. They're going to do whatever. And what happens eventually is it'll be like, oh, they're funny, they're this and that, but they do music as well. We can give them this because they're this and that. That usually, that's what keeps people alive. And I initially saw that happening with Digga D. Like I really believe Digga D, if he continues, which I'm sure he will, I think he can be that person. But what is crazy to me is still, he's dropped 2 projects and they're not good enough for him to go on stage and whatever, but he has several singles. It's this single thing. It's this single thing. He keeps releasing singles that are just doing outrageous things. And I don't know how that's going to look when people look back at the genre, like if it's going to continue like this and there's going to be no real good, strong, memorable bodies of work. Because it's nice to see the growth and development you had, like with Digga, like you had his, I think it's is it P4 PD or DP? I can't remember the name of the thing, but
Double
that
Tap
project
Diaries.
in 2019. Yeah, Double Tap Diaries, that's it. And you've got the Made in the Pyrex one now. It's nice to see the change. You've got the guy that just entered the genre, a lot of limitations. Sorry, not limitations then, but you can see the clear evolution to someone that's just having fun. He looks like someone that's just having fun at age 20. But the numbers and stuff he does with his singles and the global recognition I feel like he's getting and could get is what will lead to him being able to perform on stages and stuff. I mean, having your own shows, it's like Top said, like, you will need your own projects.
There's no doubt. There's no squares about that one. I'm sorry.
You will need your own projects. And I mean, he has 2. He'll probably perform stuff from there. Again, for me, it's like I can sit there, listen to those things and be like, oh, these are enjoyable. They're not things I'll go back and listen to a lot. Maybe the singles, if they come on because you know them, you just know them because they've done well. But it's just crazy to me that I feel like someone like that, I think they could, but I think they generally could, if they wanted to, for the rest of their career, release singles like that. Someone like that could probably do those headliner things if they just have a large amount of singles, or I guess they drop a project and there's 3 tracks that you can take from there that have the same effect as the visuals. They drop a visual for one of those tracks and then it just goes off because it's catchy and stuff. I don't know how. I don't think it's gonna be a lot of people like that though. Like I said, I feel like we're getting one Headie One every blue moon. Like, it's so crazy to say that because, like I said, you compare him to some people and there's no real difference in what he's doing. And
that's decisions.
I don't want to sound criminal and say how we allowed that, because I guess we like it, but
I get you, John. What you?
No, it's so crazy, man.
I agree.
You know, I haven't thought about it properly until just this. It's never been on my mind, and I thought, let me come on here and talk about it. It's all just as we've been talking, hit me like, hold on a minute, this guy, there's no real difference between him and millions, but he's got to where he is.
I think in terms of like headlining Glastonbury, like my first thought is yes. Like who would have thought like 10, 15 years ago that like a grime artist would headline Glastonbury? You wouldn't have thought it at all. Yeah. So, but that said, I think something has to change, because like we're saying, and kind of the conclusion we've kind of come to today is that like there's one breakout star who's like continued for a few years, and that's Headie One. And like apart from him, something massive has to change. Like there needs to be an artist who's around for a number of years. Like Stormzy didn't suddenly appear; he'd been around.
Agreed. Yeah.
And other than Headie One, other than like we're saying, like Digga D, like how many years legitimately has he been at the top? Can I say years? I don't know.
Sure.
Like,
it's
crazy. Something has to change.
He is literally 21 years old. Like it's.
Yeah, even like
crazy,
what the fuck happened to Dig That? Like it's just saying the turnover just blows my mind, because literally like some of these guys, like you think, oh wow, they're gonna be here for a while, and he
could have been, I don't know,
disappear every time. And it's not just jail that does it. It's not just jail. It's just literally because and this is the problem, right? And I value skill so much, and this is why me and John will always be heartbreakers when it comes to artists. If what you do isn't hard, then your time at the top is going to be so short-lived. Because like you said, I can go into a booth with not much practice and make a constant drill song.
Yes.
So imagine the guy who's actually trying. He's gonna probably be
that's
like number one in like
you know what it
6
is?
months.
All you guys would need is a good team. You guys would just need a good team that knows how to push out whatever you've made, because that's literally what this genre is. A lot of these people have got to where they are. Someone's made something, they have good people around them, and it's been pushed enough to be in the faces of everyone, and it's got out there. And yeah, it's true. Like with Dig That, for example, like he had a chart. He was one of the not first, but one of his tracks charted back when he just came.
The one with Hardy Capri or something like that. Yeah,
he came out of Joe, I believe it was, and then he just came, and everyone thought, oh wow, Dig That. And obviously it took some time before people realized. And then I think it was Bounce or someone in the camp said, yeah, he struggles with like song structuring. Like he can't really structure. It's like that was public info. Like he struggles with song structuring. But I looked at his image. This is what I said, because this thing's about looks, this thing's about image, this thing's about, I was like, this guy could come and be like this person if he continues, but it just came and went because there wasn't that pressure and whatnot, man. Yeah, and I don't know, like it's like we said, you have Headie One. And I feel like, even though I have this now formed opinion on this podcast of this whole, well, he's not really doing anything crazy different. It's a bit too late for that. He's featured with one of the biggest, if not the biggest artists of our generation, which is Drake. Yeah. He has that connection. He's now Future. He's actually bridged that. He's actually making that transition to overseas. And this is what people I think are like, not ignoring, but it's like you have to sit down and go, what? His album just had Drake, Future, Cash Page. He's got a Wembley show coming. Yeah. I've said to people, even if you're not a big Headie One fan and you're a fan of the people of the features in that project, pay your £36 because I have a big feeling for someone like that to be at Wembley. I do not think half of those features will not show up. I feel like some of them will show up, and for £36, you'll probably be able to see all your faves and stuff. But it's crazy what someone
I want to pick up on something you said as well, because I know we kind of talked about it at the beginning, but this is why stuff like you do with the mixtape madness and like some of the artists we've shouted out before, like producers specifically, this is why it's so important to like for people to do their research and artists specifically to do their research as well, because there are amazing producers out there who aren't just drill producers, but they're like sick producers and they can kind of evolve. Like half of the producers on Headie One's Edna album aren't drill producers. Like a lot of them just came in from various, like you had a Canadian artist who'd kind of been linked with like OVO and stuff. And like Emil, I know we shout him out probably every other week now, but like there are a lot of competent, he's worked with like Nux, he's worked with A2, a lot of competent producers who could really do stuff with, if they like sat down and like you've got
and it's like that's what it is. Like I mean, it's like you said, that album, like I think Quincy was on there because M Huncho came along, so Quincy thought he'd go on there. So Quincy does the whole trap wave thing. He doesn't do drill, but he's on the it gets regarded as a drill project, no? Does it? That project's regarded as a drill project still, Edna.
Which one? Yeah. But he doesn't do drill on every song. You see, this is what I was gonna say, and it's like because Quincy's come in with Huncho. I feel like if you want a good hook or something that sticks with people, if you're making music in the UK, you can grab him Huncho because that's what happened there. They got him on the hook. Song actually it sticks, like, and it's, but that wasn't drill. A few others on there wasn't drill, but it's like, it's these producers, man, and these, like you said, when you do the research, you realize, like, I don't know, you just realize a lot, like literally just speaking here about the whole Headie and Millions thing. Actually, funny enough, if you were to take that to the timeline and enough people saw it, I think that would open, well, I hope it would open people's eyes, because I opened my own eyes by just thinking of it. Like, I was like, it's really going to hit me. And I think if I'm talking to people about it after this, they're going to actually be like, refer them to the Vinyl Collective. I mean, that's what we ask.
Yeah, I genuinely believe if you say that to people, because I'm definitely going to say that to people, I'm like, well, if you sit down and look at like Headie and what he's actually doing, is it a thing of just because he's managed to, I think my thing is, he's good, but I think he was fortunate that enough people liked him to keep him at, so like the same way OFB are where they are, but they're just not doing what Headie's doing, but they could do, and they could make a lot of things happen. They're not short, I guess, of contacts and people they can talk to. I mean, literally, the camp has Headie there. Like they could probably make things happen, but they're not. And I feel like Headie got all that stuff, and he made it's true, and he just made stuff happen. And he sounds the same. Like there's not much change, even though it's when variance happens in this genre. When do we ever say it's the artist changing things up? It's just the production.
Yeah, it's true.
It's never really the artist. So I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. It's like, do you need the talent, or maybe do you just need the clout? Because a lot of artists just don't really change stuff in this genre. If you talk about it, that's why it hurts me that your Naxis, your other genres, they just don't get the credit because they can do everything and anything. So,
I think that's a good question to kind of leave on. I think that's something to kind of take away. But it's been great having this conversation with you, Ebz.
No, it's been nice, man.
For sure. But I mean, before we kind of close out, as per usual, we have our now and then playlist. So we add a song that's kind of current, last year or so, and then we had kind of add like a throwback. So again, we always kind of give the guests more time to think about these things. So me, good. Every time we already
did not warn me, guys. They're setting me up, man. Really set up John.
So John, why don't you hit us off? Why don't you start us off?
So my now song is it's not really. It was 2 years ago, but I think we'll include that in the remit. Danny Brown, Best Life.
Ooh, good song.
Very good song. I think the album was You Don't Know What I'm Saying, was it?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. My then song, I've been wanting to put this artist on for a while, but it's 3 years old. I'm going to say it's then. Is Ocean Wisdom and his song Revin.
Okay, cool.
Which was, I think that song features Dizzy Rascal, from what I can remember. That is a great song. I enjoyed that whole album actually. But yeah, those are my two.
Cool. My now song is it says 2 years old. It's Freedom by Sampa the Great. Such a good song. Oh, the chorus on
that one.
Oh my gosh. Oh, she's so for an Australian rapper, holy shit, man. So yeah, honestly, check her out. Like her use of like sampling, I don't even know if it's samples, but it sounds like a sample. Like she's soulful, but she's also quite, sticks to her roots in a sense, and so hip hop in what she's doing, even though it doesn't fall. Like you can hear it and mistake it for like not hip hop. Do you know what I mean? If she wasn't rapping. So that's my now song. My then song. Oh, see, again, I always say the then's always harder than now. But my then song will be Butterflies by Michael Jackson.
Cool. Wow, taking it way back.
Yeah, way back. 2001.
Okay.
So yeah.
Those are some good songs, man. Those are actually all of them. Those are good songs. I like them. So it's now and then, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My now song, do you know, this shows you how I actually think I listen to so many female artists, man. But my now song, I don't know if you guys know Hope Tyler.
Yeah, banger. We had a spotlight artist.
Anywhere from just 2 years ago. Oh, I love that song.
Yeah,
I just love her.
Single. Yeah,
I love her. I love my female. And do you know what hurts me? And this is what I said earlier about the review series thing. I listen to such a wide range of music, and I think I need to force that mold and break it. I think it's this audience thing that's just kept me stuck into this whatever, and I feel like that it's things like that will make me like, guys, any advice if you hear this, by the way, before I go into the then song, if you're doing something and you feel like things are stale, really take it back to the drawing board and do things that will make you enjoy it. And I feel like that's one of those things. I feel like if I'm not really liking a scene or a genre or what's going on, I feel like I just need to take it back to what I actually enjoy in my spare time and talk about those things rather than, do you know what I mean? I've gone into it not expecting anyone to read stuff. So it's like, why wouldn't I just go and do that anyway? Yeah. But Hope Tyler's great anyway. My then song, I feel like I wish R&B had this sound again. I feel like it's evolved. I feel like through your hers and mainly her anyway, but I really like Amarie so much, man. All I Have, 2002. Yeah, it's a really good song. I feel like that R&B sound you had back then is so nice. You're not going to get that anymore, which is sad, but obviously that's why we've got that. But I feel like it's people like your hers that have taken, I feel like when people go, like, let's say they talk about Alea, for example, they go, what would she have sounded like? Or how would she have been taken to maybe years later? I feel like her is that artist for me that has taken R&B like from your Amaries and those sort of sounds and has kind of made it evolve That's what I believe. I think she's taken that not that side of sound, by the way. I'm just saying, like, the way, like, I think drill will evolve eventually with its subgenres and whatever. I feel like, because we're not gonna get R&B from that time again. I feel like her is that next person that can make that happen, like bring it again, where we're like, oh, R&B from this date, if people want to copy her or follow her trends, because I don't know, I see her with Adele and
Tops
stuff.
is ready to fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Please. Not even fight.
I was gonna say. All I was gonna say is, you know, I'm surprised her hasn't dabbled into drill the way she's not dropping any albums. But we'll leave that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she's probably. I think that, you know what? I think they're all just gonna come out of nowhere this year. Actually, in the US, I have this feeling they're all just gonna drop from nowhere.
I don't believe it. I don't believe she's releasing this year.
Same. I don't think.
If they don't, I'm gonna be hurt, because you cannot take the picture or whatever you did with Adele and then we're just all here like sitting ducks. Like,
it's been 5 years and it's not, again, literally, like, there was the same kind of like lie people try to tell to me, where it's like they say it's quote unquote more financially viable to not drop albums, whatever the fuck that means anyways. But I would say that, like, they say that with her as well. So I think with her, she's already one of the biggest R&B artists in the world right now.
Yeah.
So really what superstar, man. With her, it's like, why drop it when you're not even certain you can do like a tour or an international tour? People you're winning Grammys regardless. What is the point? What is the point? Really,
I mean, it's hard. That's tough, because I feel like you know what's crazy with her? I still listen to every single project and thing she's dropped. Like, she released it last week, and that to me is an artist. I mean, I don't know if she has that effect. She must have that effect on a lot of people. But I go back and listen to everything from top to bottom, nonstop. I feel like if that's how she's thinking, someone needs to tell her that she can drop what she likes. I feel like people play that new shit till we're ready to go on tour or do whatever. I feel like they will listen to that till they're ready. I mean, I like when I don't mind artists taking long, because again, when I listen to overseas stuff, I feel so comforted, because it's not like here. We're getting so many drops every week. Nothing syncs. For some reason, I know it's probably like that in the US, but I think because we're not from the US, and even if we're avid listeners and we listen to a lot of people that people don't listen to, I feel like because we're from the UK,
it gets filtered out before it gets to us.
Yeah, it looks like there's so much quality control there, but I reckon they probably go through the same thing with the people they know.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? I appreciate the whole missing an artist. I getting to miss an artist. I don't get that a lot in the UK.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like J Hus, you'll get it with your J Hus. If you like Mo Stack, you're definitely getting it right now with your Mo Stack. Do you know what I mean? I feel like you only get it with certain people here, but in the US, I feel like you get it a lot, and I think it's a nice thing, kind of. But don't take too long, guys.
Yeah.
Don't take too long.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh my god.
Like we said, kind of at the beginning, you can obviously find us TVC Pod on Twitter, at Vinyl Collective Pod on Instagram. Email is the same, vinylcollectivepod@gmail.com. Obviously, this playlist is on Spotify, Spotlight series on Spotify as well. Ebz, do you want to shout out your socials as well? Where can people find you?
I'm not really liking socials in a minute, but we'll do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's Ebenezer FTP everywhere. I don't use Snap. I have Instagram. I'm there, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
I was there on Twitter a lot. I am there, but I do use that. When I'm active. But if you want to find me, talk to me, just open convo, feel free, man. And yeah, that's me. These guys definitely tune into what these guys do, man. I feel like it's content like this that I feel we just need more of, just conversation with substance. Like, even for these guys, I know like they said it, drill wasn't their hot spot, but look at what they managed to do. I feel like in other places you're gonna get people that listen to a lot of music maybe behind closed doors, but it will only ever be the 1-2 genres or that one specific side of things. And I don't know, I appreciate when there's platforms that can just talk about anything, or just really still make that substance happen regardless of how they're confident they are with the topic or whatnot. So definitely.
I mean, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. Yeah. But yeah, that'll kind of be it from us. Yeah, just a heads up, no Vinyl Collective next week. It's probably our first ever vacation.
Miss.
Yeah, you know.
Enjoy the weather, man.
Honestly, our good lad John is on his travels, so you know we'll see him when we see him. You know, don't worry, I'll still be around, guys. Don't worry, I'll still be around. And, you know, the better half of the. I'm joking. But yeah, anyway, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Enjoy the weather, all that stuff. When we'll hit the ground running in a couple weeks' time.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Bye from us.